Alright guys, another tutorial. Expect more montage tutorials, but here's one. Alright, so let's talk about cinematics. I have seen so many montages that could have been improved so much because of cinematics. You know, creative integration with cinematics is a different topic, and it's more, something you gotta come up with on your own of creatively integrating a cinematic. All I can really do is show you the basics. So we're gonna try and get a cinematic today. So right now we have a little segment right here that needs a cinematic in between these two clips. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you this segment, and then I'm gonna load it into Fortnite, and I'm gonna tell you guys what I'm thinking and what's going on.
Stop put everything in question. Treat these niggas like a print, got a pressure. Not a power in the click like a Nephilim.
So I need a cinematic to go in between that. So let's load into Fortnite, and then let's talk about it. Let's talk about skins for cinematics. So usually you want to use the skin they have in the clip. If you don't have that skin, find a similar skin or something, or even do like a landmark cinematic of like the area or something like that. Never just do like a random cinematic with no purpose, of some random skin, unless it's got some like, unless it's like of the skin that's being shot, and if like you can't see the skin that's being shot, like if it's a really far away trick shot, then that's alright if you just do a random skin, but if you don't have the skin, don't just throw random skins in there. So let's go up into our creative, actually our battle lab. Alright, so it took me like forever to find an impulse or something, but I finally found it across the map, like all the way over there, and now I finally came back over here to an empty spot to record the cinematic. So the cinematic, the guy is going with a sniper, and he doesn't really pull it out, but I want him to pull it out. And so if I cut it right, it'll look like, he's pulling it out and whatever. So we're gonna do one go. Hopefully it'll just take one, but we'll do two just in case. Alright, so actually for recording cinematics, I have this app. It's called Metal. It's really good. It allows you to record high quality clips. Like you can record 4K, you can record 1440p, and it's just a lot better than NVIDIA highlights or OBS. Alright, so in Metal, you can come here, people, blah blah blah. People record their clips, stuff like that. It's my clip library. It's literally all cinematics. So you come here, settings, and then you go here. Wait, no, settings. Oh, recording. And you can choose, 1440p, 4K. For this, I'm gonna do 4K. So I understand. If you have a lower computer, then maybe you can't record at these. You can record the FPS. You can do 60. I'm actually gonna try 120 this time, just because it's not recommended. You can do whatever length you want. I just go on 20. Bitrate, I go almost the highest, which is 70 megabytes. And then for your Fortnite settings, let me show you what you're gonna do if you're on PC. And there's also one thing you can do if you're on console. So turn your shadows. I turn mine up, aliasing medium, effects, post processing, textures on, and please guys, turn sharpness off. It's really not that hard to turn it off, and it's just so lazy to have it on. It looks horrible. So we've got our settings, we got a career, we got a replays, and we wait for our replays to load. Alright, so what happens around here, let's talk about my camera settings. So in my camera settings, I have autofocus on. My aperture is 2.8. What is aperture? Aperture is actually settings for like an actual camera, and it's sort of like what, how blurry the background is. So if you go up higher, like 22, everything is going to be pretty much unblurred. But if you go down to like 1, pretty much everything is going to be blurred except what you're focused on or what's close to the camera. So 2.8, I like to have it around there. You could go for, I'm just going to stay on 2.8. Autofocus on, because if you turn that off, camera doesn't know where to focus. So, and we're going to go to my favorite mode, drone attached. Now, for recording and actual movement stuff, use a controller. So if you don't have a controller for your cinematics, like literally Walmart, you can buy a controller for like, I don't know, $15 or something, a wired Xbox controller. So, and we're going to turn our speed really down low. So, some people record at like full speed, which is kind of dumb if we're being honest. So we're going to, and we'll also turn down the drone speed so the camera moves slower. Alright, and we're gonna play it, and we're gonna find where he starts to like sort of shoot out, and then we're gonna position the camera to the way we want. Alright, let's slow it all the way down. Go again. So that should be good, and the clip button for me is F6. You can bind that to whatever you want. So we've clipped that, and that should be done. And we actually need to record one more cinematic. Alright, so we're back here in After Effects, and we're going to drag our clips in. So we're going to drag this right here. We're going to, now once you put them in, since I recorded it so high, it's going to be at a bigger scale, so we're going to go back here. We're also going to probably have to do a little adjusting of the clip. If you just have this in here without like any real time remapping or effects or any pan crop or anything, it's just going to look kind of boring. It's going to look like this.
They see us, I put everything in question.
You know, and that doesn't exactly make sense. But first off, if we do a little time remapping, good old draggy, and I believe this was recorded at 120 FPS, so that should also help out with any frame drops. So it looks a lot better. And then we're gonna have, I don't think the scene exactly needs pan crop, but I will show you that the next skin, but we are gonna scale it in and position it to the correct type that we want. Now also there's something else we're gonna do. We're going to look, where's the openness? So it's probably going to be right there. So we're going to, I'm going to create a mask on this clip, and we're going to go with a pen tool, and we're going to zoom out, and we're going to create a little mask on the clip, and tighten up the mask. I'm just holding Alt, by the way, if you're wondering. We'll zoom in, we're going to grab this. We're going to grab the clip itself, we're going to drag its position about there. So we've got, now I'm zooming in the wrong place. So it looks like this. Now, it doesn't look great like this, so don't leave it like this. We're going to come here, we're going to go to our mask. So there's a mask, we're going to click on the mask, we're going to hit F. That's the mask feather, we're going to turn up the mask feather to about, there looks alright. So the feather looks right. I may actually add some slight pan crop to the clip now I look at it. But we're also going to want to play with the we're also going to play with the opacity. So it just kind of appears. So it's got to be a little visual, you know, authenticity. I'll just leave it.
Everything in question.
Alright, now on to the next cinematic.
Treat these niggas like a print, got a pressure.
Looks pretty decent. So for the good old pan crop, we're going to zoom in, find about middle maybe. So we're gonna create of course, add motion tile first, 3 to 3. We're gonna create our scale, probably about here. Keyframe, turn on motion blur, come in the middle. We're going to zoom in, probably. Now we do actually have to consider black bars for this one, unlike the other one. And then we're going to copy paste this keyframe. We're going to hold shift and hit P for position. We're going to come here. So we want the position to be normal here. So we create a regular keyframe here. We want the height to be correct. So about there. And we'll copy this keyframe to the other side. And we can F9 all of these together. And I'll mess with the scale first. Hold shift to keep them straight. I'll unhold shift for that because we want this one not to be straight. Because if I hold shift, I can't drag this one up. See, if I hold shift, it won't go up, so I have to unhold shift to drag it. And that should look pretty decent, except for the fact that this will be off, so let's fix this first. We're gonna have to hit separate dimensions, which basically separates the X and the Y, so you can mess with them individually. Sometimes it won't bring up this top keyframe. Hit this, bring these out. Oh, that's and then bring these up pretty high, and then that should be good. Let's see.
Treat these niggas like a print, got a pressure.
Let it load, because this is 4K, so half of 4K is what? I don't know. 1080p, I think.
Treat these niggas like a print. Treat these niggas like a print. Treat these niggas like a print.
It even kind of syncs with the song a little bit. We can add some rotation. So we'll create Shift R, bring up a rotation keyframe, go in the middle. How do we want it to rotate? I'd say about here, because the other cinematic rotated the opposite direction. And then remember, we want a rotation. What? When a rotation, excuse me. What the heck? Oh, did I rotate it at all? Apparently not. What? Nani. Alright, so we'll get our rotation. Drag this, and then we'll probably want to position these somewhat higher, but not too high.
Treat these niggas like a print. Treat these niggas like a print.
Yeah.
Treat these niggas like a print.
It even goes with the song pretty well. And I think we can hide these because we don't need to see all the effects. And then we will, we'll do our transition. So I always like to follow the motion that the character in cinematic is going. So the character's going up. So I like to create a adjustment layer. And on it I will put blur mode curves. And with blur mode curves you can change this to reflect, and it'll let you have like the it'll like, you know, reflect the tiles, so you can go like however far this way you want and stuff like that. But we're going to create keyframes for, we're going to do the sin zooms in, so we're going to do Z distance because that's zooming. And we're going to do basically these, just do those for every time. The Z, the Shift X and Shift Y, even if you're not using them all the time. So we're going to come here, because if I go here I'm looking at the other clip. And we're going to zoom it, what? That's X, Y is up, so we're going to go up. And we're going to go in slightly, like that. And we're going to do F9 those, and we're going to make these very, you know, fast, so they only happen towards the end. And we do the same thing for this one, make it only happen towards the end. So it should zoom, and then we're going to drag these keyframes out. I actually might have to readjust because of that, yes. Yes. Oh. So we're gonna drag this there. This one. So I'm gonna start drag this here. And we're gonna see what it looks like.
Treat these niggas like a print. Treat these niggas like a print.
I'd say it's a little slow, so we're going to move these in so that I can make these a lot more sharp. Let's see.
Treat these niggas like a print. Treat these niggas like a print. Treat these niggas like a print.
I would probably, I just feel like this, you know, I like to keep the zooming out sort of feel.
Treat these niggas like a print.
So we're going to have our adjustment layer, this, cut off about there, come here, add blur, mode curves, goes Mikey Pickle. Come here, come do that. So we're going to keep the zooming out motion, so we're going to have it zoom in really far, like there. And we're going to hit F9. Sorry, everyone's leaving the Discord call. So I'm going to do that. And that.
Like a print, got a
So yeah.
it's like a print, got a pressure. It's like a print.
Looks like, so we've got our motion done, and now for the one thing that really can make a cinematic look good is chromatic aberration. I think it is a universe plugin, and it sort of adds a little blur. That blurs look so we're going to drag the distortion down, I'd say a lot, and this blur is a little much. Let's go here, blur, H square, turn this down, I don't know, try 3, no, 1, yeah, radio blur, it just, yeah, that looks good. And then we're going to add, this is really important, lens texture. Lens texture, I like the bokeh, it looks pretty good, sometimes dirt, maybe, and depending on the type of edit you're trying to go for. Dry, you know, there's a ton of like texture and stuff. Smudges is pretty good. It's sort of like a mixture of bokeh and like dirt or something. I'm gonna actually go with this. We're gonna create a, I don't know, radius. We're gonna turn the radius up slightly. The fall off, turn that up a bit. You know, kind of just basically feathers it out. So it gives it a nice little texture.
Treat these niggas like a print, got a pressure.
And it takes a little bit to load. Cause you know, whatever.
Treat these niggas like a treat these niggas.
Oh, now here's the problem actually with doing that like I just did. Oh. Is that we have a little bit of a mess up here. So we're gonna actually put this on an adjustment layer. Because it does not like pan crop. So we're going to put copy and paste the effect. We're going to go ahead and delete this. So it is the same effect, just a lot better.
Treat these niggas like a print, got a pressure. Not a power in the click like a Nephilim.
So yeah, that's pretty decent, I would say. And that is how you do cinematics, guys. Please like, subscribe, you know the stuff to do. You know what to do, guys. I hope this helped. I will be making more editing tutorials from here on out. So keep it in store for that, guys. I'll see you later. Goodbye, guys.